Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to some more Fan Fridays. So Necrozma is a Pokemon that hasn't really been talked about a lot, or I haven't really seen too much happen with it, but still a very terrifying Pokemon. That I did a moveset, you do like Calm Mind, Iron Defense, and then you just become way too powerful, like a legendary Pokemon with Calm Mind, Iron Defense, and I think it gets Recover, had some kind of sustain that made it make a lot of sense. And even though you get like 5 move slot syndrome, you just run non-stab on +6 Calm Mind, and you're still going to be good to go. So the opponent leading Arceus, not liking that, and then just leaving it up to Nile Ego, even though Chansey comes in, that will be a light screen. Are also people just kind of like converting to some more tank setups on the Nile Ego? Like, it seems to work. You just light screen, reflect, and then you're surprisingly strong, but that's going to be the minimized Chansey. Okay, that's going to be a problem, and it looks like the opponent, oh, never mind, that's not going to be a problem, because we see Clear Smog out of the Nile Ego. Chansey's stat boost will be removed, but it still will go for a minimize. Do you go for another one? Yeah, I guess you keep going for another one. It's like, you keep throwing down the Clear Smog until the opponent gets the message, is what this one looks like. And Chansey's going to throw down that Seismic Toss. So, weird position to be in right now, because you have Light Screen Reflect set up. I don't think that Clear Smog really worked out, unless you're just kind of showing, hey, I'm going to Clear Smog every single turn, no matter what you do. But yeah, that's one thing that's kind of weird about the Light Screen Reflect against a Pokemon that doesn't do damage, or damage that could be modified like that. So, going to switch out into type Null to deal with Chansey. Okay, so we're not going to see like straight up all kinds of Necrozma stuff going on. That Necrozma, yeah, we're just going to watch it happen. So Swagger will fail, and that's going to be sub for the Chansey. So Chansey's still going for its minimize, like sub minimize Seismic Toss. I've not seen the substitute on Chansey. That's kind of ridiculous, but Type Null is going to come in with a Tri-Attack and try to get through that substitute, but it's going to be too much. And then Chansey with another minimize. Oh boy. Yeah, it's like, what do you do to the head? That the Light Screen Reflect setup didn't really do too much for you. Titan Null with the Tri-Attack will avoid right there, and Chansey has a Soft Boiled. So the opponent looking for that Chansey sweep, and then, since there are no Ghost type Pokemon, it's going to be really hard to get through that. Yeah, like, you have to break the sub, go into like Nile Ego, or like get the right amount of damage. That way the sub can break. Hope you get through it, and then you have to clear Smog. So that minimized setup is real right now, and pretty just crazy and ridiculous overall. But yeah, one of the things like you could do is go into Necrozma, go for like +6 special defense, try to two-shot the opponent through the. It just, there's no winning with this, but that's just going to be Seismic Toss as Nile Ego with that Clear Smog. What is there any other damage option then? Because you're not going to break a substitute with Clear Smog, and if it does, that's actually going to be pretty impressive. So 1 Tri-Attack, 2 Clear Smog. Nope, that's not enough to get through. That's not enough to get through the sub. So then Chansey will get the Seismic Toss, and that will be 1 hit away from Nile Ego going down, because it's going to do 50 damage, and Nile Ego actually has a solid amount of hit points, breaking 200 at level 50. So strange, like, tank Nile Ego setups actually working out. Sub will fade right there, but that's what I mean, like, it needed that extra little hit. Gets to the minimize quite a bit. Actually, doesn't Clear Smog, like, ignore accuracy now or something like that? So getting the reliable damage. Now Necrozma comes in. So this is where Seismic Toss strats do fall apart. Necrozma comes in, gets the Calm Mind. Is Chansey going to set up another sub? Is it just going to go for the damage? Like, Chansey's pretty invincible right now. Problem is, it will eventually lack the damage. So Soft Boiled from Chansey. Already at full health, but that's not going to stop our boy right here. And Necrozma needs to go to +6 and try to do as much to the Chansey as possible. Yeah, these Necrozma battles, I'm expecting to go pretty long at these rates. But Chansey with that Seismic Toss, Necrozma will avoid the attack. Bright Powder? Okay, personally, Personally, I would go with the leftovers on this set just because, like, you're spending so much time setting up. It gives, like, those leftovers are worth so much in the long run. But if you get a bright powder proc while setting up, there could probably be not much that's more valuable than that. Necrozma also a 5-hit KO on the Seismic Toss, so going to be pretty hard to take down. And then when it uses Recover, that's the fault right there, is that if you're using Seismic Toss, you can get out-recovered so easily, even though damage is good. But if you're against a Pokemon that's Sustain, or any kind of, any kind of Sustain, it gets really difficult. But going for Iron Defense, now this is what I like. When you have a setup that's both, like, defense and special defense, you need to mix it together. That you're eventually going to hit +6, and it doesn't matter on those special attacks, because Chansey is just that ridiculous of a Pokemon, but it's also good to have like +2, +4 on the defense. That way when that physical Pokemon comes in, you're ready for it and you don't have to worry about getting like surprise blown up after all of your setup. That Chansey isn't threatening on either scope, so you can still like +6 in both before anything matters. That's the thing. So these Necrozma battles are really going to go long since it is dedicating a lot of time. Alright, it's Morning Sun, not Recover. Morning Sun does have a reduced amount of PP, but it still doesn't matter because it's 2 Seismic Toss per 1 usage, and then Necrozma gets a free move to use. So that's kind of it. And then that's going to be another Calm Mind, and eventually Necrozma is going to max out. So yeah, these battles are going to be a little longer than expected. Well, not expected, but these are just going to be longer than average because of the setup. We're going to see how much damage Necrozma ends up putting out, as it goes for another Iron Defense. Like, this is where things start getting crazy. Like, if it gets through the evasion, like, the problem about the Substitute is that you have to hit through evasion twice in a row, and those odds are pretty low already. So Necrozma will get the Morning Sun. You kind of have to play it safe. That they do a switch in, you don't want to be at low hit points already just like that. And that's going to be Chansey with another Seismic Toss. Okay. But yeah, Chansey is fairly vulnerable if it just eats all those hits. And then Necrozma's already like just strong enough to take down anything. So this is where things are going to get pretty crazy once like the RNG comes through. And who knows how long that's going to be. So Seismic Toss from the Chansey. When you commit to that minimize stockpile substitute, just soft-boiled Chansey, you know you're going to be there for a while, so you just hit that button. The only thing, your life is now Seismic Toss. No matter how much recovery they have, you have to get through it at some point. So that's going to be Necrozma just taking that reliable damage right there, threading in a Morning Sun here and there, and Necrozma with the stored power. Okay, so actually taking a little bit of a risk on that Necrozma, because if a Dark-type Pokemon comes in, can't use the stored power, but you're going to be strong enough to one-shot Chansey with all those stat boosts, with all that base power, and stored power once again. Okay, back-to-back, I would not have expected that. But Chansey will get one-shot. Okay, so that's a lot of power out of Necrozma. I guess you have some kind of way of dealing with Dark-type Pokemon. I don't see it in the type Null, but if it works, you know. Celesteela. So Necrozma will get the Morning Sun against the Celesteela. We'll see what that turns into. I mean, Leech Seed doesn't even matter. Tankiness doesn't even matter at this point. Because how many stats? That's +2 per turn. So you're getting 40 base power per turn, getting stab while also gaining special attack. And even though Celesteela resists it, it's enough to KO. And that's the advantage of running stored power. That you just kill anything. That if it isn't immune, it's dead to the stored power. So I mean, I would imagine like a harder dark type counter than a type Null, but yeah, that's one of the ways of running Necrozma, guys, and that is going to be the GG right there. Okay, I wanted to show more battles, but I think it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Let's go and do something a little different for this Fan Fridays then. So I'm going to be doing this one a bit differently by showing you guys the team screen quickly and then the setup, because this Naligo, it actually fascinates me, and I wanted to go and pull up Naligo's stats just to make sure I could try to understand its tankiness. I mean, it's a 109 hit point Pokemon with a 131 defense. That thing is a lot bulkier than people expect defensively, but the reason why is because it has such a low defense on the 47. 109 hit points, 47 defense though is still pretty solid, and if you're outspeeding on light screen, it makes me wonder if this is actually like something like the One Punch Mewtwo. Max hit point investment, but then you also go and just max speed investment. So speedy nature, speed investment, hit points, and then you just say, alright, light screen, reflect, and then we're good to go. And you're going to be tankier than like a Prankster or an Espeon or something like that, especially on that special defense. But that's just going to be Nihilego against the Mega Rayquaza. Even with that low amount of defense, like, it can still work. So yeah, that's something. It's like Life Orb, Nihilego, or not Life Orb, Life Orb, Mega Rayquaza, being able to tank that up. Now, it was a resisted hit, so if it wasn't that, it could have been bad, but still showing, yeah, it works against one of the most powerful Pokemon, even though you don't have a lot of defense. And I think that's all the setup that it needs. Alright, it gets the Reflect, it sacrifices itself, but now we see what else can happen. Oh man, I just realized, like, Mega Rayquaza got a massive buff, because now it gets its speed on the first turn because of that Mega Evolution, and that's just terrifying. So yeah, I'm just going to like show you guys like the first 2 turns of Necrozma, skip to the end where it wins, and that's kind of it. So actually going to withdraw the Rayquaza in the face of this. That's actually different. And then Celesteela comes in. Alright, we're going to see if like Leech Seed does anything or slows it down. But it has Morning Sun. It's going to get the Iron Defense and Calm Mind. I guess you can even cut the Calm Mind short. That you don't have to go full +6 because the stored power is just giving you so much damage. Also, I do like the Clear Smog on that Nihilego. Alright, Nihilego, like for the dual screen setup, seems to be one of the more effective things, and then that will be the Leech Seed. So I'm just going to skip to like turn 11. So actually, yeah, not going for like massive max setup because we'd be at least in like turn 14, 15. Maybe even more than that for like including recovery and stuff if we're going for like +6, couple of recovery. Wow, Celesteela is still on the field. Actually going to withdraw the Celesteela this turn. So as I skipped ahead and now into the Rayquaza. Something tells me this Rayquaza is either going to eat setup or eat damage. And it's going to be funny. So Necrozma's still setting up Iron Defense. Okay. Really going to go and tank up right there. As we're going to see like some Leech Seed. Yeah, there it is. I guess Necrozma isn't really too worried by anything. Like, once it gets that setup in there, heals up a bit, and then it's just fine. So Reflect actually would have helped out with the setup even more. And then that is going to be a Dragon's Ascent. So, minus defenses probably doesn't matter at this point in the setup. Necrozma does tank it really well. Defenses will drop. And where is it? Are we just going to see like a 3-hit KO? There's a stored, or, you know, 3 1-hit KOs. That's going to be a stored power. So, X amount of setup. Sorry if you really want to know the Calm Minds. I don't think it matters when you're talking about stored power. Tapu Fini comes in. Everything is just going to be like an outspeed into Dunk right now. Because we know we outspeed Celesteela. Tapu Fini usually isn't super fast. Sometimes it is. Necrozma will go for that Morning Sun on a taunt turn. So I guess, okay, I guess that means that the Necrozma, not speed investment, maybe that might be a bit more speed on Tapu Fini. I don't know, maybe Necrozma's a lot slower than I think it is. Oh, and the opponent forfeits anyways. Okay, so that's why the turn count was so low. Still a lot of setup, then the opponent just realized it's over after the stored power. That, Taunt's not going to... Did Taunt actually miss, though? That's actually pretty ridiculous. The Bright Powder, though. The Bright Powder Necrozma with all of that setup, and then Tapu Fini definitely going to get one shot. Didn't have any way of OHKOing, and then we know the Celesteela is a very easy KO as well. Once Mega Rayquaza down, it looks like the opponent had no options left. And that Nihilego's, if anything, one of the more impressive things, that these tank Nihilegos. Speedy enough setup. You know, it's a 103 speed, but until you start encountering like 110, there's not that many 105s or anything that can get you wrong. And there we go. So, hope you guys enjoyed this interesting Necrozma set. Maybe it might shine a little bit more of a light on the Necrozma, because like I said in the beginning, it's a Pokemon that, it's out there, we know it exists, but no one touches it, even though it has this crazy set behind it. And I don't know if Type Null is actually that great of a Dark counter, but with Light Screen Reflect, you can do whatever you want, and it might work out really well. So if you guys enjoyed the battle, I'll see you guys in the next Fan Fridays.